Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
I'm there. Good evening, everybody. Welcome into Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network, as we continue our broadcast from Myrtle Beach, here for Touchstone Energy Bowl North-South game coming up on Saturday, as well as our coverage of downtown Columbia, where things are always happening. K-Mac in the Pro at our studios on Main Street in downtown Columbia, getting through another wonderful day in the sports world. The sun came out this afternoon here in Myrtle Beach. Things warmed up a little bit. Temperatures climbed into the 50s after a wet and cold morning. Tell me by Saturday we're going to have really nice weather conditions. And with both teams running the spread, both teams with good throwers and catchers, I think that we'll have a wide-open offensive game. That is what both head coaches, Jackie Hayes and Darryl Page, are planning to do. It's what they hope to do. We'll see if they're able to accomplish that with the talent at hand. 800-956-7266 is our number. Give us a call early tonight as we pick up on the conversation. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, USC basketball coach Frank Martin will be along. We'll talk with him about the Gamecocks' season to date, and especially that win over Oklahoma State. Also in our next half hour, we're going to talk about basketball in the Columbia area. Columbia blessed with some outstanding high school teams and talent and some big-time tournaments coming up, including the Bojangles Bash at Ridgeview High School. Coach Brian Rosefield is going to join us a little bit later on, too. But, guys, Panther fans got quite a scare today, and their playoff hopes took a big pop in the back with the injuries to Cam Newton.
Yeah, that was a little frightening because when you get a guy that size in a small vehicle and it's a rollover accident, anything could happen. I know he's going to try to come back because they're still in the fight for a divisional title, even though they have only 4 wins. But I would think seriously about shutting him down. I mean, he wasn't healthy in the first place during this season. He had some back problems early, and, of course, he's recovering from the ankle surgery. I'd shut him down, but I think he probably is going to try to come back, but I don't think he'll play this Sunday.
He missed one game in his career, and it was the season opener against Tampa Bay, coincidentally enough, and that's what they played this weekend. That was scary when he saw his truck overturned there, and they took him to the hospital. He apparently didn't want to go to the hospital. They took him anyway, and that's when they found those 2 fractures. Same injury that Tony Romo had earlier this year against the Redskins. He actually came back in that game, but then sat out the next week. And the same injury that Corns boy Bryce Petty had this season and missed a game before he returned with that same injury to his back, those 2 fractures. So all things considered, good news for the Panthers, Corn.
I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. We're 3.5 minutes into the show, and the name Muschamp has not come up once.
You just did.
Let's see if we can keep that going. Back in a moment. Good day out at practice today. Had a chance to talk to several different coaches, some high school coaches in particular, as we were watching the teams go at it this afternoon. And we look forward to having that game for you. We've got a terrific list of affiliates around the state. We'll tell you more about that as we move through the week. But I can tell you we're going to have practically the entire state blanketed with our coverage either over the airwaves or, of course, you can listen to it on our stream here on our website, sportstalksc.com. Looking forward to that on Saturday. Bonus coverage for you. Of course, we'll have Ted Luckadoo in the booth with me, and then on the field in the first half, Coach Scott Early, per usual, he'll be with us. He, however, has to leave at halftime to go be in a wedding. So Wally Pipping him will be, or I guess he's the Wally Pippin, the Lou Gehrig is going to be Jimmy Moose Wallace, retired football coach from Northwestern High School, but also does the color for Northwestern High School play-by-play for our stations in Rock Hill. So we look forward to having Coach Moose Wallace with us, and he promises he'll wear his shorts. If we ask him to put his coaching shorts on, he'll wear those because he always coached in shorts no matter what the temperature was. He always coached in shorts. Saw Coach Chris Miller from Spartanburg here today. Enjoyed talking to him. Coach Rick Tate from Wren was up as well. Coach Don Frost from Christ Church was here. These are just some of the guys I happened to see. There were many, many more. Some D2 and junior college coaches were here. The Division I coaches can't be here, of course. The D1, the FCS coaches, they're banned from scouting these games. Danny Height was here, the champion fisherman. His son is playing in the game for the North team. So it was nice seeing him and talking with him. I know he's proud as punch to have his youngster playing in the game. He's always been a big supporter of this game, has come to Myrtle Beach practically since it's moved here. So it's good to see him, and I know he's proud to have his son in the ballgame. Also want to mention, of course, along with the game on Saturday at halftime, the naming of Mr. Football in South Carolina. There's only one place, well, two ways to know who it's going to be. Number one, you can be in the stadium. Number two, you can be listening to us on the radio because we'll carry that live. And on Friday night, we have the first group going to South Carolina Football Coaches Hall of Fame. Pinky Babb, Paul Chapman, John McKissick, Bob Rankin, Keith Richardson, Doug Shaw, Tommy Smith Jr., Joe Turbyville, and Willie Varner. There'll be a banquet at the Landmark Resort, 1501 South Ocean Boulevard here in Myrtle Beach, and that will begin at, I think it's at 6 o'clock. And so you are invited to come to that, buy your tickets, of course, and come to that. So we got a lot going on here this week. And, of course, shout out to Touchstone Energy for their great work. Mark Quinn representing Touchstone Energy, the former TV sportscaster, TV personality. And also, wasn't he a music guy, K-Mac? Wasn't he involved with some musical group?
Was he involved
back
in music?
in the day?
You seem to know more about Mark than I do. I remember his days. Yeah. Marky Mark, and the part of that was the other Mark. I knew he was with Wolo and then went out to Texas for a while, and now doing big things there with the co-op, and does a great job with the magazine that they put out. They do a phenomenal magazine that most people around the Palmetto State or the Midlands area, I don't know how much it covers, but I get it at my house delivered for free every month and enjoy the magazine that they put out. Some good stuff in there. This Corn's doing a quick Google search trying to figure out what band Mark Quinn played in the past, but we'll get back with it. Yeah, all right, he dropped off. We'll go ahead and let's go out to the phones while we have a moment here and Corn's not bloviating. 800-956-7266. Frank Martin coming up later in the show. More from the North-South All-Star Game. We've got the Bojangles Bash High School Basketball Tournament we're going to preview. Lots of stuff coming up. But let's jump out to the phones. I think Corn is back now as we head to Barnwell. And Eric. Welcome in, Eric.
Welcome, and thank y'all for taking my call. What do you think we're losing a lot of our recruits to Louisville because they think the defensive coordinator is going to be a change at that position?
You lost one recruit, right, Corn? Just not a lot, just one.
Lost one for sure, Jair Alexander. At least for now, I got to believe South Carolina will, if they really want him, will make another strong pitch to him and see if they can change him. But yeah, I think some uncertainty there perhaps played a role. I think that you've got another player, Sherrod Pittman, who visited Louisville over the weekend, who appears to be pretty set on South Carolina, though when I talked to him Sunday, he did not say 100%. He was still going to consider Louisville a little bit, but I think he was still strong enough where they can nail that one down without too much difficulty. So you've lost the one at this point in time. I think with some guys, the uncertainty of the extended future for Steve Spurrier and also the uncertainty about the coaching staff is going to play a role in their thinking here down the stretch.
Well, is Will Muschamp coming to Carolina?
Corn? Is he coming?
Doesn't know.
Is he coming, Corn?
My feeling has been since last week when it was a 50-50 thing, and then saying what you're saying here, K-Mac, I still believe he's coming to South Carolina.
I still believe I'd put my money on the Auburn Tigers, but it sounds like with some people, the scuttlebutt now is now this is internet scuttlebutt on some of the websites. This isn't anything that I've obtained on my own, in full disclosure, but that Auburn wants to make a move, soon, as in this week, to get a guy in place to run their defense for the bowl game, because Ellis Johnson is not going to do that. So if Muschamp does sit back this week and doesn't accept that Auburn job, then maybe South Carolina feels like they have a better shot at it, because Steve Spurrier's made it pretty clear he's in no hurry to make any staff changes because he doesn't have a vacancy right now. But Auburn very well could try to land that big Muschamp fish this week, and I wouldn't bet against him.
It's interesting. If I would check the schedule, and I know they probably not, I could answer the question and say, yes, he's coming to South Carolina, and be right on both counts if I see that Auburn is on the home schedule next year, because he would technically be coming to South Carolina. He'd just be on the Auburn sideline.
That's not exactly what we're talking about.
I know. The big thing here, Coin, is I know people want, and everybody nowadays wants a quick fix. And, okay, that's all well and good. But sometimes patience is a virtue. If Will Muschamp would have coached South Carolina's defense with the talent, with the youth, lack of upper body strength, and youth in the secondary, he wouldn't have been able to do much with that defense. Would he have him a little bit better? Maybe. But you got to look at the material, and sometimes it just takes...
who's responsible for that, though? Who's been recruiting?
But what I'm saying is you have to take responsibility for them having patience and letting these guys grow, because you knew it was going to happen. Last year, if you got two wings of a three-wing set straightened out, you're good. You can take care of that. South Carolina, as you notice, their linebackers struggled mightily early, but because they had a solid defensive front and a solid defensive backfield, they could kind of weather the storm. But when you got your secondary and your frontline people up front, both, the linebackers can't save both of them.
I think you could make a case, Corn, that they underachieved defensively last year with the talent that they had out there. They got gashed in some games last year. I do think that everybody needs to, on that defensive side of the ball, needs to take a good hard look in the mirror and figure out what they're doing, what they're trying to do, and what went wrong, and why they thought going into the season, Corn, that they were going to have a better defense than they had a year ago. What led them to believe that when the exact opposite was true?
Yeah, I think they thought that the second year of the linebackers, and see, they were going with that 3-4 because they knew that they were a little thin and maybe a little less talented up front, but they thought the linebackers would help make up for that, thus the idea of going to more to a 3-4, and that didn't work out. I don't think people on the field knew how to run a 3-4.
I thought that was
got
the
out there
biggest
against
mistake.
Texas A&M. Yeah, so a lot of overestimation there by the defensive staff. Back in a moment. All right, we're back. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, we'll hear from USC basketball coach Frank Martin and find out how Michael Carrera is doing, get his thoughts about the play of his team, especially some of the guys who have really stepped up and played well, and his thoughts about basketball in general in South Carolina. You know, guys, we had a heck of a weekend this past weekend, and I know we got teams like Wofford playing very well, and Newberry is playing very good here early in the year. College of Charleston been a little bit up and down. Who's that?
Upstate. Yeah, you got to talk about Upstate.
Oh, Upstate.
Yeah.
Upstate. Yeah, I mean, and then this past weekend, as far as the big schools go, you had USC blowing out Oklahoma State, Clemson beating a ranked Arkansas team, and the USC women winning at Duke. So that was a good day for college basketball in South Carolina.
Mm-hmm. And, of course, last night, SC State is now 2-0 in the MEAC to start their conference season. So
I think, instead of Governor Haley making state employees answer the phone by saying it's a good day in South Carolina, they should say it's a good day for basketball in South Carolina.
There you go. I think you should get right on that. Make that priority number one on her agenda.
Who should I send that email to?
I mean, I'd go directly. I'd go directly to her. We
How about if I send it to? Why don't I send it to Fitz News?
Yeah, he'll get it to her. He'll get it to her.
Oh,
I'm not even going down that path again.
Well, the interesting thing, Corn,
don't want that angry call from the governor's office that I've had before.
I think if we get into January, and you hope the teams would be having some success, we'll start to see the crowds respond. I even thought Brad Brunell was surprised with that early start that Sunday for the NIT that he would have they would have the reception that they had. And I think he almost had you could almost hear in his voice, his spirit was buoyed that if we start to do something here, the fans will show up in Little John. Same as in Columbia. If they start to make a little noise, they will come.
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll find out a week from Friday because South Carolina plays host to Clemson. Now, Clemson has a game this Sunday at home against Auburn. I know the students are going to be gone now for the holiday break, but and Auburn is, they're kind of trying to restart things under Bruce Pearl, but that might be worth going to just to watch Bruce Pearl do his thing on the sidelines. But a good SEC opponent as far as an opponent from another major conference. They're not playing some team ranked in the 300s nationally. So, Tiger fans have a chance to get out and support their team again against an SEC opponent on Sunday. And then the following Friday, guys, USC and Clemson in Columbia. That'll be the Gamecocks' next game. And coming off that win over Oklahoma State, I would think that the fans would be very, very supportive and come out and maybe, I'm not going to say fill the place, but certainly have 13,000 for that game on a Friday night. All right, we'll find out more from Frank Martin about what he's thinking about his team here on Sports Talk. That's coming up after this break. We are back on Sports Talk here on a Tuesday night.
Back on Sports Talk here on a Tuesday night. We're going to talk some college basketball as we welcome in USC coach Frank Martin to Sports Talk. And, man, a great time to have you on. You got a little bit of a break here before the Clemson game, and you get to, maybe enjoy what was a very impressive win over Oklahoma State the other day. Congratulations on that win and that performance.
Thanks, Phil. Yeah, take advantage of guys taking finals to be a little less pressurized as far as workouts and practices, and do a little recruiting this week, and just excited about where the program's at, and hopefully it's a direction we keep going in.
Did that performance surprise you? You see something like that coming based on what you had seen this season?
You never expect to line up to play a team like Oklahoma State and win by 26, 7, whatever it was. But we've been defending real well. And I was anxious to see us play another high-level opponent. When we played down in Charleston against quality opponents, we played hard, but we didn't play well. Well, ever since then, I think we have taken a step forward as a team and been playing better and better and continued to play hard. And I think on that afternoon on Saturday, we saw the possibilities of what our team can be. We're still not there, nowhere near where we need to be, but it's a lot better than what it was, and it's something that we have to keep pushing and taking pride on and continuing to build.
Exactly. I mean, brick by brick, step by step. One thing I've noticed here in the last couple of weeks, and you can tell me if I'm right or wrong, obviously Dwayne Notice has stepped his game up and taken on a bigger responsibility with the team, especially offensively. And it seems to me that Thornwell maybe is not trying to carry as much of the offensive load. Is that correct in what I'm seeing there?
Yeah, Senderis is not a guy that's a frontline scorer. That's not his DNA. He much rather be a guy that attacks the rim, passes the ball, takes a perimeter shot here and there. Kind of fits who he is more than have to be the guy coming off screens and shooting every ball. And Dwayne, Tyrone Johnson, Marcus Stroman, now Justin Mackey, we're being able to balance the load. And Senderis is a lot more comfortable being in that role than as the featured guy trying to score every time down the court.
What about the emergence of Justin Mackey? He's earned more and more play time. Is that coming from his defensive effort and the other little things that he's giving you with some additional offense?
Yeah, it's at the end of the day, he was doing great this whole preseason. He had a very good, just like Dwayne had a very good summer, very decent. Dwayne dealt with mono, Justin dealt with concussion. And it, got back from the concussion and just didn't do real good those first 6, 7, 8 days after the concussion. And then we got games, game after game after game. And unfortunately for him, I had made the decision that I wasn't comfortable putting him in those games. Once we got back from Charleston, he came into practice, kind of got back to what he was doing before the concussion, and had some very good practices. And his demeanor was good, his approach was good, his understanding of what we were asking was good. So I gave him a chance, and that's the way it works. You earn the right to get in game of practice, and what you do in the game determines how much trust the coach has in you as to whether or not you stay in the game. And he's taken advantage of that opportunity, and kudos to him for waiting his turn.
Yeah, Frank, I wanted to ask you more about the defense, too. You mentioned that you guys really are coming together defensively. It looks like even on that back end, your bigs are really guarding the rim, maybe the best that they've done since definitely since you've arrived, I would say.
We're doing the best job that we've done of keeping the ball out of the paint since I've been here. Our field goal percentage defense, my assistant told me yesterday, that's ranked 6th in the country. And that's a stat that's very important to me. That's one of the few stats that I kind of zone in on, and I try to stay on. And the emergence of our big guards, the understanding of how we're trying to play, the ability to sustain effort and discipline throughout a possession, and then finalize it with bigs protecting the basket. I think it's a culmination of all those things. But yes, it's the bigs are doing the best job of protecting the rim that we have done in my time here in South Carolina.
We're talking with USC basketball coach Frank Martin here on Sports Talk. What's the latest on Michael Carrera?
Phil, I mean, I'll be extremely surprised if he does not play against Clemson. I mean, I'm not a doctor. I'm not the trainer. But I'll be surprised if he's not ready to go. I'm not going to trade the long-term health of a young man that's battling a head injury in exchange for minutes in a game in late November, early December. I'm not going to do that for a game in March, let alone at this time of year. It's when it comes to those head injuries, those guys need to be 100% free and clear before I ever consider putting him back in.
How did he suffer his concussion? Did it come from bodily contact, or did he hit the floor hard with his head?
No, it was one of those freak plays. There was a shot taken, and the ball hit the rim and went up, and Demetrius Henry jumped after the rebound, mistimed his jump, so he was on his way back down, and the ball was still up there. And as he was coming down, Mike was going up, and Demetrius's elbow hit Mike right in his jaw. And almost knocked him out cold on the spot, and just one of those deals that I've gotten hit with those. I've never got hit in the jaw. I got hit in the top of the head, and those things hurt. And unfortunately, when you're an undersized inside guy, you end up getting hit with those kind of elbows every once in a while. And unfortunately, it hit Mike in the jaw, and it caused that concussion.
All right, let me ask you a final thing before we let you go. And I know this conversation is primarily about your team, but certainly you being a proponent of more basketball awareness in our state, this past weekend we had your guys knocking out a very good Oklahoma State team. Then you had the USC women going up to Duke and doing their thing, and the Clemson men knocking off a ranked Arkansas team. So my point is, it was a good weekend for college basketball in South Carolina.
Absolutely. It's Brad's doing a great job of rebuilding that Clemson program with his flavor and his taste up there. It hurt to see an ACC team beat an SEC team. However, it's a good win for our state. And obviously the job done is second to none. I mean, she's got them ladies #1 in the country. And they play a brand of basketball that's a whole lot of fun to watch. And then we're trying to build our program, and we obviously had a good week. So it's hopefully it's something that continues to grow. The better basketball that we play at our level, the better and more influential it becomes over grassroots basketball, and the more attention we bring onto basketball in our state, and it makes it better for everybody. So it's something that's important to me, and it's a whole lot of fun to see when games like this past weekend take place.
Well, you got Clemson coming to town a week from Friday, and I know you would love to see a full house and a rowdy Gamecock crowd on hand for that basketball game, much like for the football game.
Yeah, Phil, my first year, we Clemson at home, it seems like it was 25 years ago. And I just didn't have a taste for that rivalry. And then when we went up to their place last year, they packed their building. I'm hoping our fans who've been coming, our crowd is a lot better at the time this year than it was at this time last year. I hope our crowd continues to see how hard our guys are playing, the commitment that they're making to represent that uniform the right way, and hopefully our crowd understands how much we need them, and we can pack that building and give Clemson a little bit of the taste that they gave us into their building last year.
Coach, as always, we appreciate your time. Thanks for the visit, and we'll talk to you again soon. Well, one thing about the Gamecocks basketball, they don't need Will Muschamp to help them out defensively. Look at their numbers in the SEC. They're 4th in the league in defensive rebounds. They are scoring defense. They're 5th in the league. One team in the league with a better team field goal percentage defense. You want to guess who that is?
Trees up at Kentucky.
That's right. But the Gamecocks are 2nd. Teams are only shooting 34% against them. We'll be back in a moment. It is Sports Talk here. Check off, learn more at scsoybeans.org. Pork, powered by soy. We come to you tonight again from Myrtle Beach, down here covering the Touchstone Energy Bowl North-South practices leading up to the game on Saturday. Airtime here on our network will be at noon, and kickoff will be at 12:30. You know, as we get through this part of December and through the All-Star football games, we work our way towards some very big basketball moments. I know that regular season in basketball play is underway, but we also have some tremendous tournaments coming up here in South Carolina. We all know down here the beach ball is right around the corner, but other events of that type coming up in the Columbia area in particular. We welcome in from Ridgeview High School basketball coach Brian Rosefield, who has got the Bojangles Bash coming up later this week. They'll get things underway really around the state with these holiday tournaments. And, Coach, you got yourself a heck of a field put together for this event.
Well, thanks, Phil. I appreciate you having us on, and we believe that we have you're right, a heck of a field. And it's funny listening to Coach Martin there talking about better basketball in the state and just the state moving forward in basketball in general. And we really feel like that we can play a part in that as well. You mentioned a couple of great events around the state. The thing that we believe sets our event apart is it's just that. It's an event. It's a showcase. It's not a tournament. Fans can know exactly who's playing when. And you mentioned the great field that we have. And we have, we'll get into it, I'm sure, but Zion Lutheran coming up from Florida, Northside Christian that played in the national tournament last year in New York City, not to mention locally Spring Valley, Dreer, and a host of other really, really good teams. We're really, really excited about the second year of this event.
Now, here's a big question for you regarding P.J. Dozier. I know that he's been out with the knee after having a little bit of a scope done on that. What's his status for being able to play this week?
All indications are, Phil, and I'm not, I'm not that household. I'm not at that school, but all indications from everybody that I've talked to that he's going to be cleared and good to go and be able to play on Thursday night. And he's got what we would consider the marquee matchup in the Bojangles Bash that Thursday night against Zion Lutheran, a kid named Keith Stone that's coming up. He's ranked number 100 in the country, but he's a University of Florida commit. But we're really looking forward to all of our games, but it's definitely that game that night. We're really, really pulling for PJ, and we do believe that he'll be set and ready to go.
That's great. That's great. What about in Spring Valley, Dreer, and the matchup with the team from Florida? You got those guys crossing paths as well?
Absolutely. Come to Friday. We've got Dreer and Tevin Mack. Everybody knows it's a great job that Coach Jeff DiBattista has done over there with Dreer and especially that program, and especially Tevin. But Friday night at 8:30, we have Tevin Mack and Dreer matching up against Zion Lutheran and Keystone in that 8:30 game. And I'm a homer here, Phil, but right before that we got Ridgeview at 7:15 going against Carlisle School coming down from Virginia that's got kids that are getting recruited from schools from Georgia Tech, Oklahoma State. I know the Gamecocks took it to them, but I mean we've got a lot of top talent coming in on that Carlisle School team as well. And it's just a couple of those first two nights jam-packed with 6 solid games. They really are.
Mm-hmm. And then on Saturday, man, if you're a basketball fan, you got it all day from 1:30 through 7:30.
We really do, and the one thing that we like to do with this event, we want fans to have a great time. Our ticket prices, I believe, are the lowest around. It's $5 for Thursday and Friday, and Saturday's $8, but that gets you 5 games starting at 1:30 and starting out with Chesney, and I'm sure y'all probably covered it, but it's a kid named Deion Holmes. He's a USC upstate commit. He went for just 51 points the other night. And I tell you, he's already scored 2,000 points. And I tell you, I met the kid a couple of times. He's just a fantastic kid. But they're taking on Larry Davis and the Northwestern Trojans, ranked preseason number 7 in South Carolina. And then you got Carlisle. You have Gray, Deion Bethay's bringing his guys in. You have the defending state champions and AC Flora playing at 4:30 against the Northside Christian again out of Charlotte. And then at 6, you got Zion Lutheran going against our Blazers from Ridgeview. And then the nightcap is one that we're all looking forward to is Keenan and Dreer. They play periodically over the years, but that's at 7:30. Zach Norris bringing in his boys, and Tariq Simmons and Javante Simmons. They just got a great group there going against those Blue Devils from Dreer. So it's all day affair. General, like I said, the general admission price, 5, 5, and 8. We have VIP reserve seatings that gets folks into the Bojangles hospitality room. And I tell you, I've probably eaten too much Bojangles here the last couple of weeks, but it's just going to be chock full of Bojangles food, the chicken and Dixon, the Tony Birch and the crew. They do a great job back there as well.
That's worth the price of admission itself, I can tell you that. Hey, best of luck. We'll be keeping up with this as it plays out through the latter part of this week and into the weekend. If you want more information, folks, bojanglebash.com. That has all your information, schedules, locations, things of that nature, bojanglesbash.com. Thanks, Coach. Back in a moment. Once again, thanks to Coach Brian Rosefield from Ridgeview. Man, that's a terrific-looking basketball tournament coming up. Get out and support high school basketball and also, of course, support high school football down here at the North-South game as well. We're going to hear from Jackie Hayes, the head coach of the South team, in our next hour, so stay tuned for that. Not only does he talk about his team here, he talks a lot about Avery McCall, his junior quarterback. Already is being highly recruited. Will be even more heavily recruited come next year. And that reminds me that it's time to give you tonight's recruiting report here on Sports Talk, brought to you by South Carolina's Electric Cooperatives, sponsors of the 2014 Touchstone Energy Bowl coming up on Saturday here in Myrtle Beach. Airtime on the network is at 12. Kickoff will be at 12:30. Defensive end Marquavius Lewis from Hutchinson Junior College finished his junior college career Saturday. His team winning big in a bowl game. They finished fourth in the country. He finishes his academic work on Wednesday. He'll head home to Greenwood Saturday. As of last night, he plans to sign December 17th with USC to follow through on the commitment that he made in July. He said, quote, "It's looking like South Carolina. I think that's the best decision the other day. They were telling me they need me, and they are still recruiting me and letting me know how much they want me." End of quote. USC recruiters Lorenzo Ward and Deke Adams was there to see him last week, and they basically gave him the same message. And he said, at this point, it's definitely South Carolina. Even with the coaching situation, I don't think anything will change. He said Auburn is supposed to come out to see him one more time before he leaves, and USC coach Ward and Adams or to meet with him in Greenwood on Saturday. This season he had 58 tackles, 19.5 tackles for loss, 11 sacks, and 20 quarterback pressures. I think he had more tackles for loss himself than the entire USC team had this season. I'd have to look that up to be sure. Defensive back and receiver Denzel Johnson of AC Flora, seeing his recruiting activity heat up. He's had a Clemson offer for a while, and they've recently stepped up their interest. He also has offers from Towson, Liberty, Georgia Southern, Citadel, SC State, Appalachian State. He made an official with Towson State last weekend. He is scheduled for Georgia Southern on January 23rd. He also plans to take an official to Clemson in January. He's not sure if the Tigers like him more as a receiver or as a DB. And Georgia Southern's coming at him hard. The Citadel wants him to visit as well. But primarily he's thinking about Clemson now, but there is no favorite. 66 catches, 910 yards, and 12 touchdowns, along with 60 tackles, 2 interceptions, and 8 passes broken up. And he's here at the North-South game, and he looks good. USC has offered cornerback Savion Smith, Bradenton, Florida. He's a junior. And Gamecock commitment Christian Pelage, an offensive lineman, met yesterday with Florida head coach Jim McElwain and the offensive line coach Mike Summers. That's recruiting. It's the top of the hour, and we'll be back.
Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of it. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
We are back, Sports Talk. Tuesday night, Phil Kornbluth in Myrtle Beach, and K-Mac, the professor, the steak man, back at our studios in downtown Columbia. 800-956-7266. Let's get back to your phone calls. We'll also get to some email as well. Email address is talkback@sportstalksc.com. And on Twitter, hopefully you have signed up to follow us on Twitter. Our Twitter family continues to grow. We invite you to join up and follow us on Twitter. Get a lot of good factual information, primarily from me, and you get a lot of snide comments, primarily from K-Mac. So you get the best of both worlds on Twitter from us. Let's go to Billy in Florence. Billy, welcome to Sports Talk. How are you?
Hey, guys, doing well. Hope you are.
Terrific.
Hey, Phil, I've got a quick comments and a question I'm going to take. If I could take off the air before I get off and let you answer it the best way you know how. First things first, the last 10 years is dating back to Oliver Purnell. Is it like Clemson's won the last 7 in basketball? I know it's a mediocrity in basketball from South Carolina and Clemson. I get that, but it hasn't Brownell was it 2 out of 3, 3 out of 4, or so forth?
Yeah, Clemson has dominated the series in recent years, and South Carolina had a big lead in this series at one point. Clemson's cut into it quite a bit. I'd have to take a moment here and look it up in the media guide, but they have cut into it.
Okay. Phil, I was going to make a 2 quick comments on the 2 matchups with our in-state teams, and I was going to ask you about Albert Huggins, and I'll take it off the air. All indications Deshaun's going to get put on the shelf. I mean, I don't know what you've heard, but it just looks like Deshaun, and it makes a whole lot of sense because, let's face it, the game's irrelevant with Oklahoma. I know Brent Venables wants to beat Oklahoma because he was there, and they took some shots at him when he left for whatever reason. I have no clue. But anyway, I think Cole could still take the reps, the bowl reps, which is about 3.5 weeks of bowl reps, and the defense is that good to maybe win a 20-17 because I've seen Oklahoma operate their offense with Blaisdell, and he's been banged up, and they run kind of that pro set. And I just think Cole could get it done, even though he's been an interception machine. I think if he takes the reps, not looking over his shoulder, takes time to heal up, and the way Artava Scott and the freshman Wayne Gallup been coming on, I can see the Tigers itching that out. As far as Miami and South Carolina, bad matchup, Phil, bad matchup. I think Duke Johnson could go crazy, but I could see kind of a 38-32 game, 38-35 or whatever, but I think Miami will actually stop South Carolina a little bit more than South Carolina stops them. And my question to you, and I'm going to take it off the air, is what are you hearing? The indication Mark Rick's got an in-house visit with Albert Huggins, Orangeburg, Wilkerson.
All right, I'll try and answer that after the break. I'll share with you what I can. We'll be right back. We are back. Sports Talk. Lines are now open for you. 800-956-7266. Dial us up. Get right on the air. We might even open up the express lane if necessary, but it's not necessary right now. You can get right through without delay. Jackie Hayes coming up in a few minutes. My conversation with him after practice here at Myrtle Beach this afternoon. The last question from Billy, I think we answered all the others. Well, let me back up for a second before I get to the Albert Huggins question. What was the point he was making before that, or the question he was making before that?
I think he was making the point that South Carolina is probably going to have a difficult time stopping the run against Miami, which is a pretty safe bet, I would say.
Well,
Yes.
maybe they can just gang up on trying to stop Duke Johnson. I think I would put all my efforts into that and take my chances with the quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we'll see what they come up with. We'll see who's running the defense at that point.
It'll be Lorenzo Ward. I mean, Lorenzo Ward's going to be running that defense during the bowl game, and I don't think Lorenzo Ward's going anywhere, regardless. I think he's going to be a part of that staff. He's telling recruits that he's going to be a part of the staff. I don't think he's looking for a job elsewhere.
Far be it from a recruiter to not
lie.
be truthful.
Yeah, I mean, but you know what? If he
December.
thought he was going to get fired, though, he's not a guy that seems to think like he is going around thinking he's going to get fired.
I don't disagree with you at all, but I don't think anybody on the South Carolina defensive staff knows what their future is, to be honest with you.
I mean,
Deke Adams is out there recruiting as hard as he can, and if you polled South Carolina fans who follow it, probably 99% would tell you he's not going to be back. They all seem to know this, and he doesn't.
Yeah.
He's still out there working and recruiting. Of course, he is on a multi-year contract.
Right, and most of them are. And that's the delicate balance for Steve Spurrier right now. He's trying to prepare for a bowl game because you're not going to be able to get a guy in to probably run your defense before the bowl game on the 27th. So you want to have some people in place there. You've got a top 10 recruiting class that you're trying to hold together. You're just trying to get the signing day. You don't want to lose a bunch of those guys because they know, everybody knows, they need help. They need some of those guys to get in there. So if you go and you axe whammy, you're going to lose Arden Key. You're probably going to lose other guys out there. So, it's a tough thing if you're Steve Spurrier. But at the same time, you have Muschamp dangling out there. And if you can add a guy like that, you can't pass.
And it's interesting that, I guess, was it this time last year, Paul Johnson had one foot out the door, and now this year he's ACC Coach of the Year.
Yeah, you turned around fast.
You can't foresee what's going to happen. It's a roll of the dice. When you deal with firing coaches, because you don't know. Duke Johnson, he's at 1,520 yards this year, averaging 7 yards a carry, 10 touchdowns. He's just the kind of running back that fits because he's tough. He runs hard between the tackles, but he's got great speed. I'd put 7 in the box, and I would dare Brad Kaya to beat me. He's a freshman quarterback. He's completing under 60%. He's thrown 11 picks, 25 touchdowns, so he's got a good arm. He's passed for almost 3,000 yards, and of course they've got good receivers. They don't have the big All-American type receiver they're used to having. Clive Walford is their leading receiver at 44. They do have 3 or 4 guys that have caught the bulk of the passes. Johnson's also a good receiver out of the backfield. He's the second leading receiver. You got to be wary of that, but. I think I'm not going to say they're one-dimensional by any means, but I think here's an opportunity where you can kind of set your sights on trying to stuff the run, and then hope you can off of that get some pressure on the quarterback and maybe make him make some mistakes and help you slow down that offense.
By the same token, Miami has been vulnerable against the run themselves, so it's a mixed bag where you may play keep away and see if you can get a lead, and then see if you can stuff them on first down and make them get into passing situations, because both teams have not been able to stop the run that well this year.
And now, Corn, everybody wants to know where Albert Huggins is going to go. I saw Tim Jennings, another former Orangeburg guy, tweeting at Albert Huggins telling him that he needs to go to Georgia like he did, and he'll never regret it. So, Georgia's pulling out all the stops. Clemson's pulling out all the stops. Where's he going to go?
Bro, I wish I could tell you. I can tell you probably about 10 after 11 on Friday. We'll be there. Follow our Twitter feed, and we'll let you know as soon as it comes down. I don't know. I thought at one time, this appeared to be an absolute lock for Clemson. He'd been up there a lot, and for whatever reason, South Carolina fell by the wayside with him. Here's a guy 40 miles down the road from you, and they didn't get really in tight with him for whatever reason. Clemson did. He was up there for camps, and it all looked like Clemson. Georgia's made this strong push for him now, and they're going to get the last in-home with him on Thursday. Mark Richt will be there. I don't know. This thing could truly go either way. Now, Coach Tommy Brown told me yesterday that his opinion was the kid pretty much knows where he wants to go, but he doesn't know. I think he knows where, but he's not saying. So in my mind, it's up in the air 50-50. I don't know. Well, I haven't seen anybody anywhere definitively. I know the Clemson sites, and you can, the way it is today in recruiting, of course, you can kind of get a read sometimes by what the websites are doing and saying. You got Clemson sites are feeling good, but Georgia's is as well. Wait till like Thursday night and find out which recruiting sites are going to be there to cover it. That could give you an early indication.
Well, wasn't it recently a history, I guess, Corn, maybe more than a decade ago, where South Carolina couldn't get a guy at Orangeburg. If they stayed in state, they went to Clemson. That used to be the case.
Yeah, they haven't pulled a lot of guys out of Orangeburg.
No, the Orangeburg guys have gone to Clemson, gone to Florida State. The Gamecocks did have, yeah, you're right. Let me think now. The Gamecocks did have, one of their really, Arturo Freeman came from Orangeburg Wilkinson. That's one they've gotten from there. And but not many. Most of them have gone either to Clemson or out of state.
If they stay in state, yeah. Of course, we mentioned Tim Jennings went to Georgia. Alex Barron went to Florida State. So, yeah, they haven't had a lot of luck.
All right, back to the phones we go, 800-956-7266. I'm told now we have no calls. So those of you who were holding and didn't hold, shame on you. You blew your chance.
Well, Corn, that gives me an opportunity to speak on something we were talking about if I wanted to bring up a subject. And it's interesting. I think years ago you're talking about the All-Star game you're at and the talent there, and they're using the spread offenses. It was a time, Corn, if you agree with me, that it seemed that high school coaches and then moving into the college ranks, if you had a tremendous athlete and you flipped a coin, you may have put your best athletes on defense. I'm not so certain that coaches now are making the decision, if I got a dynamite athlete, I'm going to put him on offense, and now you see more and more teams trying to outscore each other than trying to stop each other.
Yeah, no. Well, with the new dynamic offenses being run today and the game evolving into pitch and catch, you better have your best athletes on offense. You got to have those gazelles out there, guys with big hands and speed, and that's where it's going. And then, of course, your quarterback. You got to have in college. You got to have a quarterback who's mobile. If you can't run from that position, you're costing yourself part of your offensive weaponry, and that's why I hate to say it. The Dylan Thompsons, the Cole Stouts of the world in college football today, pretty much dinosaurs. I'm thinking about Mariota is a very good running quarterback. Obviously, that was a big part of their offense at Oregon. Bryce Petty, does he run a great deal? I haven't seen them that much.
No, he does not. But he's got a quick release. I mean, the only quarterback that can survive from a bygone era that can survive in today's game is probably Dan Marino. But he was a freak whose release was just ultra fast. He just got rid of the ball so quickly.
Kind of like Aaron Rodgers, would you say, Pro?
Well, he wasn't getting rid of it. He was just dodging the Falcons' defensive line and couldn't get to him. He's got escapability to a corn. He could run if he wanted to, but he loves to throw downfield because Aaron Rodgers is an athlete. There's no doubt about it.
His feet never stop moving. It's amazing. You watch him drop back, the feet are always pumping. Kind of like Peyton Manning's a lot the same way, but he's much more mobile than Peyton is. All right, we'll hit the phone calls again after the break. Don't go away. We are back at Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network, presented by South Carolina soybean farmers and their checkoff. Learn more at scsoybeans.org. Pork, powered by soy. Let's get back to the phones. Mike in Chester is with us now. Hey, Mike, I heard a pretty interesting rumor about the head coaching job at Chester.
Yeah, I really hadn't looked into that, man. I'm more of a Louisville guy.
You want me to tell you what I'm hearing?
What's that?
Well, this is coming from the scuttlebutt here at the North-South game, talking to other high school coaches, but the name passed along to me for the Chester job, Steve Tannehill.
Huh. That would be surprised to go from Chesterfield to Chester.
Well, from Union County.
From Union County.
Yeah, Union County.
Mm-hmm.
The ATM in Union County.
The question I had, man, it's about the quarterback position for next year. You know, we had, Connor Mitch, 4-star, highly talented recruit, broke all North Carolina records. Spurrier even told him that he would stay, this whole 4 years he was there, Spurrier would stay. And, Mitch comes in and he struggles to, even compete for the backup job with a walk-on. With Pete Orr. Pete Orr's a walk-on, and he struggled to get the backup job with him. And I was hearing that Mitch was having trouble, with the playbook. So my question is, will Mitch be the quarterback next year? Or maybe, if Nunez ends up dual threat quarterback, and, that's what y'all was just talking about, maybe that's what we're going to have to see.
Unless they find somebody to transfer in who's a fifth-year guy or decide to go after a junior college quarterback somewhere, which they really haven't had an indication that that's happening. I did talk to the quarterback at UAB on Saturday, Cody. What's his name? Help me, Cody. Anyway, the quarterback at UAB who's looking for a place to go.
Yeah.
And as of Saturday, he had not been contacted by South Carolina. He didn't really want to talk about what he may or may not be doing.
Cody Clements.
Yeah, Cody Clements. Nice kid, had a great year. But as of Saturday, he hadn't talked to South Carolina or heard from them. So, unless they do something like that, then they're going to be counting on Connor Mitch to be the guy. If Lorenzo Nunez has to come in as a true freshman, unless he's from the same cloth, cut from the same cloth as like a Deshaun Watson type, then that's trouble for South Carolina. You had better hope that they've got a better plan than to rely on a true freshman.
Yeah,
guys, if that's the case at South Carolina, then whatever they do on defense might not matter because the offense will probably.
That's why they got to get better on defense.
I'm telling you, got to get better on defense. And Pharaoh Cooper, boy, that Wildcat looking better than ever. By the way, a stupid question we'll answer when we come back. Where's Skarnecki in all of this?
That's a good question. He's a guy that Spurrier recruited and Spurrier liked. Don't forget the scar. Okay, we're back at Sports Talk South Carolina Radio Network. Good to have you with us here on a Tuesday night. We thank you for making Sports Talk a part of your daily routine. Catch us over the airwaves over one of our great stations around the state. If you lose us there, follow us on the internet on our website, sportstalksc.com. You can also get us on your smartphone. A couple of ways to do that. We have got a couple of stations, iHeartRadio, WGVL up in Greenville, WSEA in Myrtle Beach. WSEA also has an app where you can go and get us there, and also our affiliate in Newberry, WKDK, has their app out and available for your smartphone. You can just go to the app and pull them up and listen to us that way. Should you lose us over the airwaves, there are ways to get us. And don't forget the video feed at the bottom of the sportstalksc.com page, where you can watch the show live and go back and watch the show for the next, 22 hours. We wrap up at 8 o'clock. We come back at 6. That gives you about 22 hours to go back and watch it again. Watch it over and over and over again. It's like watching Seinfeld over and over again. And what you can do, K-Mac, what I would recommend to people is you could then pull comments from us to use in your everyday conversations like people do with Seinfeld. Complete?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably totally zero. I've watched bits here and there.
You've never watched an episode of Seinfeld from start to finish?
Truly, probably not.
Wow.
Maybe, maybe once or twice, but not on a regular basis, I know I'm missing a great American media piece of culture there, but somehow I have survived without being able to quote
you can
Seinfeld, Seinfeld, what's the word? Not lyrics, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Episodes or verbiage, word for word.
Well, I haven't either, but then I'm a crime drama person.
You haven't watched an episode either?
No.
Oh my goodness! I'm gonna have to quit the show. That's I'm out. I can't work with you guys anymore.
And a roar rolls across the state of South Carolina. Well, how much have you watched, K-Mac?
I've probably seen every episode, honestly.
Really?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably seen every.
Yeah,
episode.
my family right
Pope,
now.
You're calling me the weirdo?
I haven't
my wife,
I haven't seen an episode either. So
Pope hasn't seen an episode. No, that's weirder than me seeing all of them. That you guys haven't seen one. No. Arguably the greatest.
This is a guy that travels the country to go see fish. Well, part of my problem at home now is my wife controls the television, and it's pretty much set on HGTV when I get home these days. So I'm learning a lot about how to repair your home. Getting a lot of good insight there. All right, coming up in a few minutes, we're going to hear from Dillon coach Jackie Hayes. He's the head coach of the South team here at the North-South game. As they continue their preparation today, 2 more practices in the books. Teams will go at it again tomorrow, 2 more times, and on Thursday they'll practice twice, but they'll also make the annual visit to a local Target here in Myrtle Beach, where they will get together with a group of kids from the Myrtle Beach area, and they'll play Santa Claus with those kids and give them gifts for the holiday season. That's always a great thing here with the North-South game, Touchstone Energy Bowl, as they attempt to give back to the community. Speaking of terrific gift ideas for the holiday season here in South Carolina, we welcome into the program the treasurer of the state of South Carolina, Curtis Loftus, to talk to us about the Scholar 529 program here in South Carolina. Curtis, how are you tonight?
I'm doing very well, and thanks for the easy lead-in. That makes it simple for me.
Well, that's what we try to do here, because you do have something that you want to present to the people of South Carolina, what you think is a great idea.
Well, it's holiday season, and what do we do at holiday season? We try to take care of our loved ones. And as many people know, the state treasurer's office runs the College 529 Future Scholars Program. And so we've got a holiday push on. We're trying to get as many people in that program as we can, because it keeps our children, our other loved ones, from that bone-crushing debt of college debt. I think you're probably familiar with it, but for those who aren't, a 529 plan is like an IRA that you save for college.
we're fortunate enough to be able to put money in an account that's tax deductible, and then that money grows tax-free. So when your kid or grandkid gets ready to go to school, they can pull that money out and pay for their expenses in a tax-free way. You know, we all can't be Sterling Sharp. We all can't get full rides, right?
Exactly.
Some of
we
it,
wish.
some of it have to live off wits, and we don't have a lot of wits at that. So it's good to have that help. I remember when I started college, it was $366 a semester, 1976. In 4 years' time, it grew to be $376. Just 10 years in 4 years. And now, basic at Carolina is over $10,400 a year.
That's, it's funny. I was watching the Dr. Pepper halftime thing where the kids are competing for $100,000, and I was thinking to myself, well, that's probably good for about, 2 semesters now, $100,000.
Well, and it's more expensive because books and computers and many campuses on campus that first year. But I didn't do it. I lived in a shack garage just about. I mean, we called it an apartment, but it wasn't. But we could save money that way. It just doesn't work anymore. These college savings programs are one of the single best things government ever did. I mean, I work in government every day, and it frustrates me a lot. But if you want to see something that's run like a business, if you want to see something that's flexible, see something that can really make an advantage and make a difference in somebody's life, open up one of these accounts. We renegotiated our contract. It's free to open up an account. You can put money in there, your brothers and sisters, all your friends can. Instead of buying that extra blue sweater for your grandkid at Christmas, put some money in that account. And over time, it grows. And even if you don't get enough to pay for the whole college, you get enough to pay for a lot of it. And that's what it's all about.
And Curtis, it's an idea that continues to grow, and people are taking advantage of it, because last year, 2013, a big year, maybe the best one they've had with this program in terms of enrollment. Exactly.
We've gone, and when I was elected in 2011, we had about $1.5 billion in assets. Now we have $2.2 billion in assets, and that's money that can go to college. You don't have to just be go to school here in Carolina or Clemson, which are great places to go. You can go anywhere in the country. In fact, anywhere in the world that's an accredited college. You can go to 2-year, you can go to 4-year. So you can be a Bulldog, or you can go to Carolina, Clemson, or you can go to Crimson Tide. It's just wherever you want to go, and that freedom really can't be understated.
Where can people go to get all the details that they need to read up about this? Anytime, of course, you make an investment, you want to learn everything that you can. Where can they go to get all the necessary information?
Is www.futurescholar.com. Futurescholar.com. That's a very intuitive website. It'll show you how it all works. If you have a question, can't do it all by internet, you can pick up the phone and call. It's the site is here in America, the call site. You'll understand the folks. It's very easy to work with. That site is tremendous. In my visit there, I never saw such technology. They know your question before you ask it, and they'll be able to help you through it. There's no opening fee, and you can put a little $50 a month in there. If you need to, you can get other people can contribute. And say little Phil decides not to go to college, you can transfer it to little Susie. And little Phil got a full ride, you transfer it to little Susie. All it takes is a letter. It doesn't cost a dime. That's how flexible it is. It's so good. It's one of the best things you can do. It's a great way to show your loved ones what you care about.
That's a great thing. I hope people are listening and will take advantage of it. Curtis, as always, thanks for the visit. Happy holidays to you, and we will talk to you again soon.
Well, thank y'all. Keep up the good work. Y'all are a great tradition here in South Carolina. It means a lot to us.
Thank you so much, Curtis Loftus, the treasurer here in the state of South Carolina, got his hands on all our money and doing a great job with it, and a great idea. If you got people who are going to be going to college one day in your family, it could be a grandchild, a child, or some other relative. Terrific holiday idea right there. Back in a moment.
I'm pretty pleased with where we're at right now. Some of these guys hadn't played in.
We're back, Sports Talk from Myrtle Beach as well as from Columbia. We continue our coverage of the North-South practices today. I was over on the south side of things, had a chance to talk with head coach Jackie Hayes from Dillon and get his up-to-the-moment review of the way practices have gone so far.
I'm pretty pleased with where we're at right now. Some of these guys hadn't played in 5 and 6 weeks, so they're getting a little bit sore now. But I'm pretty pleased with where we're at.
What are you guys doing on offense?
We're spread, same offense we run at Dillon. We're going to try to throw the ball around, try to make plays out in space.
Got a couple of quarterbacks that can really throw it.
Oh yeah, no question. Nick and LJ, both outstanding quarterbacks. Been in a lot of big games, and I think they'll be able to perform well on Saturday.
Are you looking at a couple of quarterbacks that can also run? Will you incorporate that into your offense?
Oh yes, definitely. That we'll have the run pass option, and those they'll have to make sure that they got somebody in place to defend them, because they can pull it down and make some plays.
Who do you like among the receivers and running backs that you have?
Well, I tell you what, I've really been impressed with Jaquez Leopard from Gilbert. Outstanding tools back there, speed and power. And tell you what, the receiver down in Myrtle Beach, Kyle Belak, just probably one of the best route runners I've been around in a long time.
How about defensively? We see some guys out there that look very athletic. You got the Davis kid that's committed to Clemson. It's like he can run with anybody.
I'll be honest with you, Davis puts on a little bit of weight. He's going to be in the NFL. We can't block him out here in practice. A tremendous athlete with great skills and very well coached.
How can you showcase a guy like that in a game where the defense is somewhat limited by the rules?
Well, I tell you what, whoever their left tackle is on the north, he better get a lot of good sleep and a lot of good rest, because I tell you what, he's an outstanding football player. And, I've been doing this 30 years, and he's one of the best I've ever seen.
Defensively, can you do anything outside the norm or strictly by the rules?
Strictly by the rules, base 4-3, no stunting, no slanting, no blitzing. So, it's going to be should be an offensive show. But, the key, what people don't really understand about all-star games, offense and defensive line pretty much control those games. And, once Shrine Bowl picks their players and stuff, you kind of get thin in the offensive line. But our guys been working hard all week, and I think we've gotten a lot better in 2 days.
For a guy like you coming off a state championship win a couple of weeks ago, how long did it take you to get your focus and your mindset on coming here and coaching this team?
Oh, about a day. It's an honor and privilege to be able to coach in this game. You couldn't ask for a better bunch of boys than we have on this team. Great character, great work ethic. Pretty much the perfect scenario.
I want to ask you, too, about the importance of the involvement of Touchstone Energy with this game and the support, both financially and in terms of this game.
Outstanding. Of course, when you play all-star games, it's all about media and recognition, and those guys have done a tremendous job. I'd like to thank them personally for what they've done statewide. They've taken the game to another level. Everything down here is first class. I mean, all the gifts and things the players have got. I'm sure some of these guys can go to the next level and play at a bowl game, but I don't think it'll be any better than they're having down here.
Is this game special for you? I mean, you've been a Shrine Bowl coach, and now you're here in the Touchstone Energy North-South game. Is this still a special outing for you?
Oh, of course. This is every head coach's goal, and as you wind your career down, you hope you get this opportunity, and been very fortunate to be able to do this. And I just want to thank my fellow coaches for nominating me, and hopefully we'll do a good job on Saturday.
All right, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you while I have you about Avery McCall, who will be maybe the best player in the state next year in the 2016 class, maybe the most heavily recruited. And what's going on with him here now that the season's over and coaches have been coming through school?
Well, of course, Avery McCall's a hot prospect. He's won 3 state championships. He's probably one of the premier players in the country, and what he's done at Dillon's just
just been phenomenal, and he just keeps getting better and better. You know, I probably denied him a lot of opportunities because he hadn't played many times in the second half of our football games. He's a special talent that understands the game way beyond his age.
Do you think the Gamecocks and Tigers are missing out here because they seem to have their interests somewhere else?
Well, you know, I guess everybody has their different philosophies or different picks, but you know, he's going to go somewhere and he's going to play, and he's going to be a star. You know, unless he gets hurt or something like that. But you know, he can throw it with the best of them. The thing about Avery McCall that probably sets him apart from any other quarterback in the state is he can run the read option. He can be a pro-style quarterback. Whatever you need him to do, he's able to do it.
Jackie Hayes from Dillon High School following practice today. This quick note from David Hood of TigerNet. He's posted on his board for his readers that he's been told that Deshaun Watson will have ACL surgery on Friday. Be right back. So again, David Hood, our buddy up at TigerNet, reporting on his website in the message board area, saying that he's heard from more than one person that they're going to have the surgery on Watson Friday. Now, Dabo Swinney is to meet with the media on Friday around 11:15. So you can see where all this is kind of all coming together. And we suspected that this might happen, guys, as we talked about how they were going to handle it. Well, we didn't have to suspect it. I mean, Dabo said as much Sunday, came back on his conference call, that this was something they would look at.
Yeah, and you know, it just made zero sense to go down there and play in an exhibition game and risk this guy further damaging his knee and delaying almost a month of him recovering, an 8-month recovery time. And I know people out there say, oh, the doctors said it couldn't get any worse, but the bottom line is there are a lot of orthopedic surgeons that don't have tiger paws on their crest that say it's probably not a good idea to play with a torn ACL, you know, especially at that position doing those sorts of things. They wouldn't recommend it. Can you do it? Yes, it's been done before. We've seen it done before. Is it good for you? No, it's not good for you to do that sort of thing. So go ahead and get it cleaned up and have them ready for the season.
Well, there's another good reason to do it too, Cohen, because when you look at his body type, I think the kid's still growing. And it's best to take care of that thing. Make sure the scar tissue is all going away after the surgery.
Did you say growing or growing?
Growing. I didn't say growing like the nether regions. I didn't use that term. I said he's still growing. He still looks like a kid that's still growing. So it's important to get that surgery done now, and then let all the scar tissue clear so he can have freedom of movement, so he can really prepare to take the reins, because he's not only going to be the quarterback of Clemson, but to use the term they use in the NFL, he's going to be the face of the franchise.
All right, K-Mac,
yes.
You are on my bad side now. You have revealed on Twitter private information about me and Pro that probably the two of us did not want revealed on Twitter.
What's that?
That neither of us have watched Seinfeld.
It was revealed on the show.
Yeah.
That was
revealed. Yeah, but now
that
you're
wasn't
telling
behind.
the whole.
Now I'm telling our Twitter followers. I just can't believe you haven't seen one. It's on all the time. And I know you, Corn. 5 years from now, you're going to come in here to the studio one day and be like, hey, K-Mac, have you ever seen that show Seinfeld? I was watching it the other night. That's great. I watched like 5 episodes. You're like 20 years behind.
I watch more sophisticated stuff.
You're probably watching Friends right now. Yeah, he's catching up on MASH.
How many episodes of Hell on Wheels have you watched?
I have not watched any Hell on Wheels.
I haven't watched
I can't believe that. Huh?
Oh, yeah. Seinfeld, Hell on Wheels. Let me see. I'll take some.
Criminal Minds and Blue Bloods. That's how I roll.
ABC Monday Night Football starring Aaron Rodgers. That's what I watched. Did you watch that last night?
I did. A very impressive game.
And Julio Jones as well. Julio.
Hey, tomorrow we've got coverage of Coastal Carolina. We'll be over at their press conference as they move into their next game of the FCS playoffs, plus more from North-South practices. Hope you'll be with us. Thank you, guys. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow night.